So speaking of code of conduct, Donald Trump, the former president, he said last night that he loves the Ten Commandments. He says that he loves that they are in public schools and that he urges people to read them. He's holding it up as a moral code, just as you have as well. But it also seems to be a moral code that he doesn't follow. He doesn't even try to follow. Does that seem right to you?
That's some woman on CNN doing what political hacks on the left do best, trying to distort everything to fit a narrative about Donald Trump. Luckily, Ben Carson was on the show and pointed out the stupidity of her comments. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and Louisiana recently made it mandatory for public schools to display the Ten Commandments. Naturally, this ruffled feathers of Democrats who don't like messages about being honest and honoring your family.
I wonder, does it seem right that people put up codes? I was talking to a young lady a few weeks ago. She said in her school they're having Pride Day and everybody must agree with it, and you can be expelled if you say something contrary to it or if you don't use the proper pronoun. I wonder if that's kind of a totalitarian attitude to take.
Well, I mean, I don't even want to get into the pride issue because I think that's a separate topic. The question was about...
It's the same kind of issue, though, isn't it?
Well, where are there laws that are forcing people to put up, I don't know, I guess, pride codes of conduct on the walls?
They were forcing the kids to comply with that particular, whether they believed in it or not. And I said, what if you don't believe in it? And she says, you got to keep your mouth shut.
But who are you even referring to? Are you talking
have to keep their mouth shut.
Are you talking about the government?
A 12-year-old that I was talking, no, I was talking to a 12-year-old. That was what was going on at her school.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but it seems like there's a difference between that and an entire state saying we are going to force the classrooms and teachers to put up a tenet of a particular religion up on the walls.
You know, the only difference is one is called a religion and the other masquerades itself as something else entirely. But the fact of the matter remains that it's an imposition of morality either way. What this really boils down to is federalism versus states' power and how the left is intent on imposing its will wherever it can.
There are those who want to take what is abnormal and make everybody else conform to that as if it's normal. I believe that God loves everybody, but I don't believe that it was intended that men have sex with men and women have sex with women. Now, those who want to do that, they're welcome to do it. But for them to try to take that and say that that's the norm and that everybody should conform to that does not make any sense. What they should be doing instead is making sure that the norm recognizes that there are things that are not consistent with the norm and that we need to learn how to tolerate those things. That's what you do. You don't take everything and turn it upside down.
You know, one of the biggest smears pushed by the left is that Ben Carson is stupid because he's a slow speaker, which of course is total BS. Here he is expertly breaking down how the left attacks Christianity to push its own secular version of morality, which is often far more dogmatic.
You know, in 1958, there was a man named Edward Lewis Shrimp who started a lawsuit against one of the counties in Pennsylvania because at the beginning of the school day, they required the recitation of the Lord's Prayer and a Bible reading. And you know, the school district and even the state said all a parent has to do is send a note asking that their child be exempted from that if they don't want that to happen. But that wasn't good enough. And it ended up in the Supreme Court in 1963, at which time they ruled that it was unconstitutional to have mandatory prayer or Bible reading. But then it continued to morph from there to there can be no support whatsoever for anything that's religious in the public setting. Now, think about how illogical that is in a country whose founding document says that our rights come from our Creator, whose Pledge of Allegiance says we're one nation under God, whose coins and dollars say, in God we trust. That makes no sense whatsoever. And that was obviously never the intent of the founders, that we completely separate God and religion from everything. Their intention was that the church would not rule the state, and the state would not rule the church.
You don't have to be religious to see the double standards at play here. Democrats love to push their values onto the American people and downplay their institutionalization. They'll portray Christians as religious zealots, then celebrate pride in schools and label concerned parents domestic terrorists. They'll spend tax dollars painting alphabet murals in the street, then charge people with felonies for leaving marks on them, even going as so far to work with corporations to maintain their compliance. They say they're all for separation of church and state, of course, unless it's their church. But let me know what you think. Are modern day progressive values America's new religion? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!